Now all hell is breaking loose. People are saying that the SPD is being castrated. I'll show you that in a moment. At the same time, there were also convictions against, yes, SPD politicians. And the situation here is getting more and more out of control. Now, NGO funds are simply being cut from the budget, and more people are making demands. Friedrich Merz needs to finally tear down the firewall. With a like, a subscription, and spreading the word, you would really help me a lot. I have to tell you, I've never had such great news for you in the morning as I do today. Let's start right away with Gabor Steingart.
Because Klingbeil, with a weak SPD, is not a driving force in the coalition, he becomes the gravedigger of the Chancellor. In doing so, he castrates the SPD as a workers' party.
The problem in Germany is that the SPD is seen as far too powerful for an 11% party. You can clearly see that the SPD is actually implementing exactly this and repeatedly making absolute absurd demands. And that's exactly the problem with Friedrich Merz as well. Just imagine if he were to implement what the SPD, especially Lars Klingbeil and Bärbel Baas want. Then we'd be here. I mean, we're already broke. But then the economy would be doing much worse, and at least 5 million more people would be receiving welfare benefits. Basically, pretty much anyone who has a small side job or something like that. But okay, I'll talk a bit more about that later. Furthermore, he also said
that anyone who has such a deputy doesn't need any more enemies. Merz and Klingbeil officially form the government leadership. No.
If a Friedrich Merz has a Friedrich Merz, he doesn't need any more enemies. That's enough. Well, I read something yesterday, and it was labeled as satire. AfD undermines Friedrich Merz's speechwriter. That's more or less how it was presented. The AfD does not comment on these findings. It just can't be that Friedrich Merz keeps running into a wall with his speeches like this. That must have been the malicious intent of the AfD. No, this person is simply factually finished and done in his office. And now, yes, even Carsten Linnemann again, and I hope you paid attention to his eyes yesterday. If not, watch yesterday's video again. Yes, even he already had the opportunity back then to reject paragraph 188, the offense of lèse majesté. And back then he voted no, so that this paragraph would remain in effect. Now the CDU has reopened this issue and once again copied the AfD's proposal word for word. But today we're going to focus more on the harsh defeats of the SPD. Now just listen to this for a moment.
The former Berlin Senator for Health, Dilek Kalaici, is to have her pension revoked. The SPD politician was sentenced to probation for bribery in 2025.
And I just wonder what would have happened if, for example, Alice Weidel or Björn Höcke had done that, yes, had said the bad word, or if Brandner had said it. I don't know. I think that definitely would have made more headlines, and there probably would have been prison sentences with incarceration and so on. Well, okay, first a suspended sentence, and now she has to give up her pension. By the way, the woman won't be poor. She still has a bit more than just the money she gets each month from German taxpayers. However, there was also a strongly worded letter from Soda yesterday in which he harshly criticized Boris Pistorius, saying, "Dear Boris, what you're doing right now is harming the economy." And that's a perfect example. Just in the last few days, it came out that even in the German military, there's this SPD cronyism. Yes, do you remember the nice yes minister who had her son flown to Sylt to drink champagne while the war in Ukraine broke out? You still know who I mean, right?
I think it's very typical how politicians, when they've been in the job too long, end up in this kind of detached bubble and develop a certain level of self-righteousness and arrogance.
You just can't justify that, and that's why we urgently need proceedings to ban the AfD here in Germany. No, you should just ban them outright without any proceedings. Just take them off the table. Well, there's one more thing. All right, the firewall has fallen again. Now, the free voters, CSU members and AfD members have joined forces to prevent Red Green. Yes, that has also caused quite a stir, because they didn't want to support the budget anymore, and they just slashed funding for the Live Democracy program. that they no longer want to finance this party cronyism. No, the brown thugs running around on the streets here, sorry, black thugs, Antifa is black thugs running around on the streets here who are also being financed by the SPD.
You can see that in Thuringia in this Ilm district. There, the independent district administrator, together with her allies from the Red-Green coalition, tried to set up a budget. And the opposition factions had amendment proposals. And because there are 4 of them, including the AFD, they managed to get them through. And because of that, this budget...
The propaganda funds were simply cut. Yeah, oh my, I'm so sorry about that. Especially in Thuringia, let's be honest, the press apparently has nothing left. The AFD's campaign is starting and they have nothing left. Yesterday I saw a video from, I don't remember exactly who it was from. Unfortunately, I kept swiping and never found it again. Just imagine if Alice Weidel had cheated on her doctoral thesis and at the same time, well, a victory, and Ulrich had faked his degree. Do you know what would be going on here? Oh, I see. If the CDU and SPD do it, nothing at all. There's just a little side note: when they embezzle taxpayers' money, promote party cronyism, or maybe have some of their allowances cut because, well, they only cheated the Germans out of their tax money. Nothing. But just imagine if that happened with the AFD. And that makes me wonder about one thing. Do they have nothing left for the election campaign? The campaign has started. Not 100,000 people on the streets. And the CDU, the SPD, they keep losing ground. Every week, someone loses at least 0.5% or a full percent in the polls. And the shitstorm? Oh, right. The Office for the Protection of the Constitution is now monitoring. Take a look at this.
The place in this case, Germany, is on fire, but we're busy dealing with insults.
And do you still remember him? Kurat, the man who lost his daughter in Brogstedt. You know who I'm talking about. Feel free to write it below if you don't know. He lost his daughter. According to Tickes Einblick, he is now being monitored by state security. Yes, exactly. Because he doesn't keep quiet about his daughter's death, but instead goes public in the media and wants to warn people that there are very dangerous people here. So, is he now being watched by the Office for the Protection of the Constitution? Well, that's what we're wondering. Well, how much longer will he be allowed to stay outside? And when will there be the first fines, for example, because he says something like, for Germany, ... everything, or something similar? Yes, I watch Mr. Kellner. I know a lot of people don't like him. I still like to watch him sometimes. He really is a pioneer, especially when it comes to media presence. But all right, that's not the point right now. The state security is now even crossing some serious lines as they are controlling more and more people. In 2025, it was still 1,600 people. It wouldn't shock me if next year, when we get the numbers, there are at least 10 to 10,000 people on the state security's radar. Because we're no longer willing to help finance this, well, we can say it now, corrupt state, the corrupt SPD, the one that has once again been convicted because no, not in this case, well, they just handed out advertising contracts. Yes, because they're embezzling the citizens' money, distributing it through cronyism, and at the same time want to harm this economy, becoming its undertaker. I'm all for it. Let's definitely castrate the SPD, but let's do it right. Get this leftover party below 5%. What's your opinion? You can write it in the comments below.